So, as things usually go, I had no idea what the hell to do, because I guess I'm not built like the other content creators. Didn't help that I had 6 billion other life things to do, but we don't talk about that. I somehow thought of this idea, don't ask how. But basically, K-pop albums, but humans. Why K-pop albums? Because I'm like, obsessed with K-pop still. I know, major red flag for people, but I swear I'm chill. Anyways, I had a friend choose 4 albums for me to make designs for, 2 boy groups and 2 girl groups. I can't trust myself to choose the albums because I'd end up doing 4 Stray Kids albums and that'd probably be disappointing to the other stands. So yeah, my friend chose some really good albums to make designs for, and let's just say I struggled, but it was still fun. So the first design I'm working on is for Everglow's Zombie album. It definitely has a really nice album design, and there were 2 versions. Because I liked both versions, I tried to incorporate both of them somehow into this design. Now, obviously this was my first time attempting something like this, so I tried looking at concept photos to give me some inspiration for what to put into this design. While looking at the concept photos, I noticed that Ando wears an eye patch in the white versions of these photos. Sorry, I don't know what to call this version. So, seeing the eye patch, it gave me inspiration to put an eye patch on this character. It's also great because I don't have to draw a second eye. I hate drawing the second eye anyways. At least I don't copy, paste, and flip the eye anymore, but like, still. If I can avoid drawing it, I will. Okay, so this is the part where I should probably explain my design choices. Earlier, I mentioned wanting to incorporate both versions of the album into this design. So what did I do? I gave her half and half hair, which I thought was pretty cool. So you'll notice that I try to do a lot of triangle shapes in this design, like in her hair and her choker. It's because the Zombie album has this like huge angle shape, and I thought I should incorporate it somehow, if that makes sense. So another thing that you'll notice is that I gave her bandages, stitches, and scars. Considering that this album is called Zombie, I thought it'd be fun to put in a couple of those elements in there. It's also because when I watched the music video, I think they were in the hospital, so that was something I thought I should incorporate into the design. Now with this design and all of the other ones I'll do in this video, I did my best to capture the essence of the album cover, but also keep in mind the title track. So that means, yeah, I watched the music videos a bit to get the aesthetics and also looked up the English translation of the lyrics to see if I can come up with any design things. I will say this though, this design was so much fun to do and it's probably my favorite one. Usually the first designs are not my favorite since I'm experimenting a lot, but I think that I was the most creative with this one. Since this one was so good in my eyes, it kind of set up high expectations for the other designs. Okay, so I think the reason why I chose the specific colors for this design is obvious. It's because those are the colors that are seen on the album. Now, I wanted to just color pick it, but I decided not to since I feel like that'd just be really lazy on my part. Nothing wrong with people who color pick, by the way. Just with me personally, I like to try and match the colors or get something similar. It kind of teaches me to pay attention more. Now, I thought about making her skin like a crazy color, but I feel like I couldn't pull it off, so I just gave her blobs of purple instead to kind of compromise. I think she still turned out amazing though, but I think next time maybe I should go crazier, you know, just not hold back. Okay, so shading this wasn't too bad. I pretty much did what I always did for shading since I feel like things were relatively normal, I guess. Yeah, I don't have many comments about the shading. I will comment on me trying to handwrite the album name though. I thought I was being cute with that one, but you'll see in the next one that I was regretting my life decisions. Okay, here's the finished design for Zombie. Like I said, this one was my favorite and definitely my most creative. Hope I did the album justice for those that stan Everglow. So the next album that my friend chose was ENHYPEN's Dimension Dilemma album. Now I feel like this character design was very much trust the process. I had to trust the process for myself because I was stumped and also hating what I was doing at first. Of course, since I managed to incorporate both versions of Zombie into the previous design, it kind of set the precedent that somehow I'll incorporate all versions of the next albums into these designs. So there are 3 versions of ENHYPEN's album, but the one with orange is the main one, I believe. So I used orange for most of the design. I'm somewhat familiar with ENHYPEN, so I already knew the album a bit, but I wouldn't call myself a stan. more of a casual listener since I have some of their songs on my playlist. Now, I know all I draw are men, but I still find them hard to draw purely because of their hair. I feel like I just stick with the same hairstyles because I want everything to look good and I can't trust myself. However, this is a character design based on an album, so I could not go basic. When looking at photos to get inspiration, I came across Niki's photos and noticed how he had longer hair. It kind of gave me the spark to give this character somewhat longer hair. I angled the hair in a slant to reference one of the versions of the album, but I don't think people are going to get it. But that's just a tiny little detail I did. I think the worst part of this design process was the clothes because I had no idea what I was doing. And again, I was hating everything so far because clearly I could not trust the process. So this was another moment of me looking at the concept photos to get an idea. What made things tougher for me was that the photos kind of seemed casual, as in they were wearing more casual clothes, and of course that just made things harder for me. I'm trying to steer away from things looking plain because if I wanted something that looked normal, I would have just made a normal muse for the canon verse. But this is a design challenge and we must be creative. So I settled for kind of referencing the photo with stripes and putting stripes on the shirt. Last minute, I decided to put a tie because school or whatever. They were kind of dancing in a school in that music video, so why not? I tried to make the tie quirky at first by making it slanted, but I could not get it to work. So basic tie it is. Oh, and he has shorts because this song is summer vibes, even though right now it is fall for me. Honestly, who cares? The sunglasses I added on was also because of the summer vibes. Now, I started liking this a lot more when I added the colors in. I was like, oh wait, actually he's kind of cute. The toughest part about coloring this was making the blue and purple work with the rest of the design somehow. I decided to put them in the tie and the shorts, but man, it took a bit. I kept recoloring the shorts and just had no idea what I was doing for a bit. You'll probably see the last minute I changed the eyes to purple to really make things pop. Oddly enough, I think the colors all work together like you'd think they wouldn't, but no, they did. I think if you choose the right values and the places for the colors, anything can work. So at the very end of the speed paint, you'll see me trying to handwrite the album name. I tried to do the weird text crossing over the dilemma, but could not make it work. So we just left it at dilemma. It's very cool graphic design wise, but yeah, definitely don't try to recreate it in handwriting. Here's the final design. He turned out really cute, and I think it's because I decided to give him soft features since, well, Tame Dash isn't really dark vibes. I hope this dance like what I came up with, and I hope I did the album justice. Alright, so our next album is Purple Kiss's Geeky Land. I don't see Purple Kiss talked about as much as other groups. I have 2 songs of theirs on my playlist, and that being Ponzona and Zombie. I haven't listened to anything on this specific album though, because I'm not like a stan, just a casual listener over here. I'd say turning this design into an album was the hardest challenge because there aren't exactly graphic design elements that I can incorporate into the design. The album itself is a picture. Really cool album, but it definitely caused me to dig into those creative juices a bit more. I looked at concept photos to get an idea and I saw that Yuki had short hair. Now, I feel like when I draw women, I always draw them with long hair. So I thought, let's just give her a cunty bob. Oddly enough, I think it fits with this. So the title track of this is Nerdy, and I was watching the music video as I did for the previous albums to get the vibes. It was definitely more Halloween spooky vibes with some of the decorations. I actually saw someone in the comments mention Monster High, and that's when I had kind of an idea on where to take this. You'll see me adding spider-like features to her because if it was just the outfit, I think that'd be a little too plain. So I basically gave her spider features in reference to those Halloween decorations in Nerdy. Listen, we're going big or going home with these designs. Funnily enough, I'm recording and posting this video in October, and both the design I made for Zombie and Geeky Land are Halloween vibes. I asked my friend about it and he said it just so happened on accident, so literally shout out to him for that. You know who you are. I think coloring this was my second biggest challenge because since it was a photo, I feel like the colors to use weren't as intuitive. But orange, red, and blue caught my eyes first, so that's what I decided to use as her colors. I wanted to make her hair orange at first, but then decided that this reddish color would be better. Then I made her eyes blue because I always have to have the eyes pop out. You'll probably see me eventually get to it on the speed paint, but once again, I was struggling with the shorts for a bit. But then I looked at the pants Swan was wearing and was like, yep, and let's put something like that on this design because it seems cool. It kind of made the design more interesting, which is good. I'm sure someone will notice this anyway, so I thought I'd just point it out. I made a tiny mistake on the fishnet stocking she was wearing because I didn't pay attention to the direction of my brush, so things got a little messed up. I couldn't fix it without just redoing the entire thing, so yeah, I left it there. We'll just pretend it's intentional though, just like with all of my other mistakes I might make with any art piece. Now we're nearing the end of the speed paint for this design. She's definitely a Halloween girly and I like the design I came up with for her. There are probably things I can do better, but for now, it's a good design. I like all of the designs I made, but obviously I'm going to have my favorites that I thought I ate with. Maybe many years from now, we'll see me make a revamp of this design. We'll see. Here's the final design for Kiki Land. She was still fun to make and it was nice having to think about things more. Hope I did the album justice. Now, here's the final design for this video. I'm sure everyone was waiting for this one if they saw the thumbnail of the video. I was definitely waiting for this one. But the next album I made a character design for was ATEEZ's Zero Fever Part 3. I was excited for this one because next to Stray Kids, my other old group is ATEEZ. Both groups make music that's up my alley. Of course, since I love ATEEZ so much, making this design was stressful because my perfectionist tendencies were multiplied by 1000 here. Since I stan ATEEZ, I was already pretty familiar with this album and the vibes, but just in case, I went back and did my research all over again as if I had no idea what I was doing. Even if I knew ATEEZ pretty well, I still struggled with this because the creative juices weren't cooking up good ideas. At the very least though, staring at the concept photos for Deja Vu told me I should go with leather pants, so that's a start. For this character, I gave him pretty sharp features since I had already given the character I made for Dimension Dilemma softer features. Plus, sharper features fit more with this anyways, in my opinion. I did look up the English translation for Deja Vu, which, for those that don't know, it's the title track for this album. And let me just say, the lyrics are kind of sexy. They're not the most sexy lyrics I've seen, but it's definitely suggestive. So like, I high-key gave this character a flirty look, and also that kind of just influenced the rest of the design. Okay, I really should talk about some of the design choices I made because I feel like people are going to look at me funny. So the first E in the album is stretched out a lot, so I decided to reference that in the sleeves. It's probably really weird looking, but that's fine. When looking at the photos, I was kind of inspired by Mingi's outfit for the Deja Vu photos, so I kind of used the outfit as sort of a base. The decision to give this character gloves was because of Mingi, but he only wore the gloves on one hand. I just put it on both hands of this character. Coloring this design was hard, but it was for a different reason. While Geeky Land, I had trouble choosing the colors, here I had trouble placing the colors in good places. There are 3 versions of this album and I wanted to incorporate them all in here, but let's just say I didn't do a good job of that, as everyone will see later on. I could not make the orange work out with the green, so I had to just settle for a subtle reference of the orange in the eyes, while everything else remained blue and green. Not my best moment color-wise, but that's okay. You'll probably see all of that happen much later on in the speed paint. The design ended up being my second favorite design, and I swear it's not because ATEEZ is my ult. It's because I feel like I did better on this design. It resembles the album a bit more, and also I feel like I didn't resort to pulling subtle things from the MV to make something more interesting. Obviously, as I said earlier in the video, Zombie is my favorite design, and I don't think that will change. Of course, my tastes are different than other people's tastes, so let me know which design is your favorite in the comments below. I don't really have much else to say, so I'm kind of trying to fill for time. I guess one last thing is, if you all want to suggest any K-pop albums to make designs for in the future, I'd love to see that in the comments too. I don't know if I'll do this again since it took me so long to record and edit, but yeah, can't guarantee I'll do them, but it's nice to keep things in mind. Here's the final design for Zero Fever Part 3. Definitely a nice character design and I love him a lot. Hope I did good on the character design for this album. If you guys have any name suggestions for these guys, feel free to drop them in the comments since I'm not sure if we want to refer to them by the album name. Thank you so much for staying until the end of the video, and if you like my content, hit the like and subscribe button. If you want to support me, my art commissions are open and you can fill out my request form on Artistry. I'll see you all in the next video.